Hello everyone, and welcome to the Pit and Paddock Racing Show for the second week of August. Let's begin with NASCAR, the only series that held an actual race this weekend. They found their way to Richmond for a 400-mile short track event where Austin Dillon turned a snooze fest into a pinball game on the last lap by punting the leader Logano into the wall and then hooking the next leader, Hamlin, for the win.
Dillon took a page from the DNC handbook, win at all costs.
Yeah, he really did. Logano got a good jump on the restart, and he looked to be headed for the win. But Dillon really pulled the video game move, not breaking into the turn and punting Logano up, and then hooked Hamlin right after that. Both of them were obviously pissed.
That was like an MMA move. Like I thought Hamlin was kissing the trophy girl at that point. It looked like he was just going to shoot past. How did Austin Dillon bounce back down and take Hamlin out and then hang on and win the race? That was impressive.
He was leading. He was on his way to the win. You know, he took the lead with about 30 to go and was pulling away by like 2 or 3 seconds.
Yeah.
And that caution came out, and he was just like, nope, I am not going to let this caution stop me from winning. I'm going to get that back.
He didn't have a good restart.
No, it wasn't good. Logano pulled away from him within a turn or two, and I'm like, well, there's no way you can get to him now. And he, I guess if you don't break into the turn, you can catch up pretty quickly.
He did a Mark Webber restart.
So the question that everyone's asking is, should that move be allowed?
You know, if you get bumped from behind, then maybe you're not fast enough to be in the lead.
I mean, I wasn't super upset because he did take out my 2 least favorite drivers.
Logano?
Yeah, Logano and Hamlin.
At least Logano's in a Ford.
I'm always, every time they win, I'm like, ugh, again? But, I don't know. It was pretty blatant. But he did move from 32nd in the points to his worst finish now is going to be 16th, which is a huge jump just by punting a couple. And probably, I don't know how much money they're making, but that's probably a significant increase.
I'm thinking 95% of the field would have done the same thing.
Probably. I don't know about the hook on Hamlin. Like, usually when you spin someone into the wall, first, the NASCAR tends to frown upon that. We still don't have any word on if they're going to be punishing him because, it was originally going to be announced Tuesday, but they've pushed it back because they probably are still debating it, or I don't know what NASCAR does. But
it helps when your grandfather owns the team and is a legend in racing.
Well, the team's not going to have any punishment for him. I don't know. I hope they don't. I would rather see the drivers take that on than having NASCAR step in and officiate everything.
Yeah, it's not Formula One.
That was a little blatant, but maybe, have other drivers just beat him up for the next few races. Make sure he remembers not to do that.
I want to see some retribution. It's a perfect chance.
He doesn't care. He's in. He's like, I don't know. I made the playoffs. So early in the race, first stage, once again, it was, I think the Gibbs cars were first, second, and third for the entire thing. It was looking kind of like a bell-led snooze fest. He hung around the front most of the race until he got caught speeding with 120 to go, so that pretty much ruined his chances.
Is it me, or the Bell kind of looks like Oscar Piastri in that picture?
He kind of did. Maybe he was on the one on the Olympic gymnastics team.
I mean, it wasn't like Dillon came out of nowhere. He was battling with Logano and Hamlin, like 70-some laps to go?
Yeah, he started catching him, and he was in the top 10 pretty much the entire race, so it's not which is kind of weird because that team's been awful the entire season, which I guess he wasn't going to give up his one good race.
Wait, that's not the 23X, whatever.
No, he's Dillon in the 3.
Yeah. Wait, who owns it?
That's Childress.
Oh, okay.
And Kyle Busch is his teammate, so they've both been having a awful year.
Hints. Oh, yeah. Childress is his grandfather, so he got to drive.
Yes.
That helps. Hey, if my dad owned a racing team, I'd be expecting to drive too.
Yeah, he's got 5 wins out of it, so he's not terrible.
He doesn't have the same name as Childress, so Childress had to reach in and go with one of his daughter's children to find a good driver.
It looked like the option tires made for a more interesting Richmond race.
Yeah, so the red was the soft?
Yes.
And the black was the hard. Okay.
Black.
That's usually how it goes.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting much, but it did improve the race a little bit. Suarez was the first one to test it out early on. I think stage 2 he switched over and promptly marched from, 20-something in the field all the way up to the lead and held it and won the second stage. But then everyone else switched to the soft and he had to go back to the hard and he promptly dropped back to 20-something.
Yeah. I saw him put the option back on towards the end of the race, but by then he was a lap down and he needed a hot dog wrapper or something to get unlapped.
I'm kind of worried that if they keep going with the option on the short tracks, everyone's just going to end up taking them all at the same time, which would kind of defeat the purpose of having different compounds.
In theory, the option wears out faster.
Yeah.
So, you can get some positions, but then you start losing them.
I think everyone's going to be fighting to save them for that last caution that may or may not be happening at the end of the race, and always want to keep one set just available so they can grab it then and try to win the race that way. Well, we'll see. Hopefully they use it. It's better than not having it.
Yeah, better than the parade races that short tracks can be.
Phoenix would be a good place for that.
Oh yeah,
Maybe
Phoenix.
That would help.
Phoenix needs it.
Also a nice fist bump. Well, a gentle fist bump to Kyle Busch, who he had I don't know if it was broken or sprained wrist, but he was tired of that cast he had on, and he was trying to cut it off with scissors during the caution. They gave him scissors through the window, and he's trying to wrestle it, and I'm like, man, don't cut your wrist. That was kind of funny.
They were the dulled kindergarten scissors. So
is that why he was struggling with it so much?
Yeah. I saw Truex blow an engine, about mid-race, and I'm hearing rumors about Toyotas don't do so good on short tracks, but then didn't Hamlin have a Toyota?
Well, yeah, they'll run good. It seems like one of them blows up every short track race, though. I don't know. I think it's just Gibbs, pretty much. They usually run towards the top.
I can tell you, I've had enough of spotter cam.
Oh, when they hop up and you just hear the spotter?
Yeah,
sounds like an auctioneer or something.
Yeah,
up there?
like you just, zipped into an auction somehow. And yeah, the spotter cam's not that good.
They tried to mix their coverage up. They got the pit reporter that sits in the box, and then they got the spotter camera, and it's a good idea to try new things, but if it's not working, maybe we can cut that one out.
I'd prefer to have funny-looking people in the crowd cam. Or improperly dressed cam.
They had a little too many drinks before the race cam.
Yes.
The guy who screams at the car every time it goes by.
Yeah.
Like they hear you.
Angry, drunk spectator cam. Oh, you could have some interesting stuff. Why don't they show that? Come on, it's NASCAR.
No, I don't. Anyway. Well, let's talk about some paint schemes this weekend. We'll start with the good ones. You got any?
I went with the winner Dillon because it said hunting sale on the side of his car, and how could you not like hunting sale?
It's pretty straightforward advertisement there. Hunting sale.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Dude,
there you go.
I'm there. That's if they're gonna say, hey, come to our lobby, we've got adult snacks. Like scotch and Percocet.
Oh, that would be nice. I'm gonna go with Chase Elliott's Coca-Cola car. I thought that was pretty cool, the red and white. And then I I want to know what Slim Chickens is. Have you heard of Slim Chickens? That was on the quarter panel.
That's what chickens used to look like before we overbred them to get huge breasts and lots of meat.
It's kind of a weird name. I'm guessing it's a restaurant.
So chickens from the 20s?
Yeah, Slim Chickens. It's kind of fun to say.
Chickens that went through Bidenomics. I kind of like Bush's Cheddar's car because there was a lot of American flag going on with that one. That one was pretty cool.
Yeah, I've seen that a couple times. I like that one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Any bad schemes?
Yeah, my man Gilligan. He's got the Pete store. What's the Pete store?
The Pete store. Do you not have enough friends named Pete? Check out thePeteStore.com.
Buy yourself a friend.
Hey, we need a Pete in here. I got just the place.
Oh. Do they come from the Philippines? The other one I want to call out was the Gibbs car that he gets us. Can we finally put some Jesus on the car somewhere?
No, we don't want to be too straightforward with it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a bad scheme necessarily or good. I don't know. I just put it in the middle. The number one of Ross Chastain with the see-through door painted on, where it's him in a driver's seat with just boxers and a helmet. Did you see that?
Yeah, that was kind of awkward.
I was like, I don't know what it's kind of weird.
Yeah, that was kind of like, don't take that one to the elementary school.
You're like, yeah, that's kind of funny, but then it's like, no, I don't like it. I don't know. It was a tough one.
Yeah, I'm going to go with no on the creepy dude in his underwear with the, it's like Wonder Woman's invisible jet. Yeah, Chastain's invisible car. Look, he's in his underwear.
Dangerous in a fire also.
Yeah. Help me, Jesus. Help me, Jewish God.
Tom Cruise. Since not much was going on this weekend, I'll talk a little bit about the trucks.
Were they good? The trucks tend to be good.
It was a perfectly acceptable race. About average, which, I don't know. It's Ty Majeski, Christian Eckes, and Corey Hine pretty much are guaranteed to win every race, it seems up. But they will be starting the playoffs in their next race. So the truck playoffs work with, you got 10 drivers. They're going to do Milwaukee, Bristol, and Kansas. They're going to cut that to 8 drivers at Talladega, Homestead, and Martinsville. Then it gets cut to 4 for the championship race at Phoenix.
Right on.
And I'm going to guarantee a Heim, Eckes, or Majeski championship. I know it's a stretch, but we'll see.
That feels like it could be a Formula 2 crew. Those all sound like European.
Oh, it kind of does.
Yeah.
I don't even know Majeski. Is that Polish?
Sounds Polish or maybe Russian Polish.
Next up is the 2-mile Michigan Speedway. It's going to be 200 laps, 400 miles.
Why can't IndyCar go back to Michigan?
I don't know. Those are them and Fontana were my 2 best IndyCar tracks.
Yeah. They need more 2.5 mile tracks for IndyCar.
They just don't go there.
Yeah.
And they should be going there.
Roger Penske sold Michigan to... Did he sell it to the NASCAR owners?
Yeah.
The France family?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In Formula One news, the U.S. Department of Justice has opened an investigation into Liberty Media. If you don't know who Liberty Media is, they own the commercial rights to Formula One, which means they pretty much own Formula One.
Yes.
Yes. So they opened an investigation into Liberty Media and Formula One for hating Americans, and Michael Andretti in particular, because they denied his application.
Oh, well, I guess the DOJ's moved on from prosecuting grandmothers and concerned parents at school board meetings to focus on F1 then?
Yeah. Well, the Department of Justice heard that Liberty Media doesn't offer puberty blockers and gender-affirming care to house pets, so they're investigating.
Liberty Media also owns Ticketmaster and Live Nation, too, so...
Is that why Ticketmaster is so expensive?
They own both of them. That's why all the fees, and they're not well liked by anybody, actually.
How come the fees are as much as the actual ticket when you buy a ticket?
Because they can.
You know what's easier? Cut a hole in the fence and go through the back. It works at concerts and Trump rallies. Just Secret Service won't even look at it.
No, they don't even care. You just come right in.
Yeah. Not much else in Formula One. Perez is still holding on to his seat, as well as a copy of Christian Horner's text messages to female employees, so he hasn't been sat down yet.
He's probably going to make it out the season then, I guess, if he's got those.
He could retire, as long as there's a Christian Horner. Up next is the Dutch Grand Prix in the Netherlands, but F1 is on maternity leave still, so we won't see that race for about 2 more weeks.
Are the Dutch the only country where their nationality name doesn't match the country name?
Yeah, now that, well, if you don't count Germany, that call themselves Deutschland, does that count?
I don't know.
Like in English, we say Germany, and in German, they say Deutschland, which is Dutchland, which makes no sense.
Oh, Europeans are weird.
I'm sure there's some Asian nations somewhere that call themselves something different in their country.
Probably.
In IndyCar news, embattled driver Canapino was booted from June Coast Hollander. Sources say he was offered a job by Maduro to bring his fan club to Venezuela.
I heard that Connor Daly is going to take over for him at Gateway, at least, because he drove the car in a test there a couple weeks ago.
They should get Mags. Magnuson needs a ride. I mean, Formula One's not doing anything. Might as well go run an IndyCar.
So you're gonna go Magnuson, Grosjean as your just move the old Haas team over?
Yeah, that would be a good team. Haas might as well have an IndyCar. Yeah, Haas is not in an IndyCar anymore, is he?
No, I think they just have the one stock car now.
Yeah, he was big in the old kart days. Gene Haas was like one of the major dudes.
He'd rather waste his money in Formula One, I guess.
Yeah. Well, Team Penske engineers were also offered a job by Maduro, this time to help with vote tabulations.
Then it's off to Arizona, Georgia, and Pennsylvania for the same thing.
Oh, yeah. They definitely need help with vote tabulations over there, too.
Next year, IndyCar is going to be on Fox TV, which will make it less accessible than this year, requiring viewers to have a cable subscription, unlike, now you would just have Peacock if you want to watch all the races.
Say what you want about NBC, but their streaming's been pretty good.
Peacock is fairly affordable.
Yeah.
The Fox equivalent is going to be, Venue Sports, I believe it's called. And that's going to be $43 a month for the same coverage.
Yeah.
But you also get all the TBS, TNT, and HBO. What's the other? Fox. ESPN is the one also that comes with it, but maybe you just want to watch IndyCar.
No Lifetime channel?
Oh, unfortunately not. Too bad.
Hallmark?
I hope not.
No. Is there a 50 Shades of Grey channel now?
Probably.
Yeah. Yeah, you can stream the races at your leisure on the Fox Sports app if you have a subscription to like a cable Fox.
Yes.
Yeah.
So your option is a full-on cable subscription, like
Right.
the old days everyone used to have, or Venue Sports for $43, which is probably cheaper than most cable options, but
Yeah.
it's still kind of a pain for, I think I paid $30 for a year of Peacock,
Yeah.
and I now get everything in good quality, replays. Oh well.
The F1 app's the worst. Well, no, the F1 app was like $120 for the whole year or something. It really wasn't that bad.
But the races will be on antenna if you can get access or you're close enough to one to use that. So that's free at least. We've got Rossi coming back from Gateway after his thumb surgery. Was a practice crash he had at Toronto.
Why could he not drive with a thumb cast?
I don't know. It must have been pretty bad if they took him out for that weekend. Before I've seen him crash and they just tape it up and deal with it later.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Bush drove with the cast and then cut the cast off.
It must have been his drink pressing button and he didn't want to go without that.
Rossi's from California, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And some IndyCar history, since we don't have actual racing to talk about this week. We're coming up on the anniversary of the worst IndyCar race start since Kevin Coogan took out AJ Foyt and Mario Andretti on the pace lap at the Indy 500. But no, this one beats that one. It's the 1996 US 500 at Michigan Speedway, where pole sitter Jimmy Vasser and 12 cars were taken out on the start lap by Adrian Fernandez, trying to do a 3-wide start. Like, they were competing with the Indy 500. Yeah, and they were trying to do everything Indy 500, but we're better. We're the fastest cars and the best drivers, and we crashed out half the field on the pace lap.
Here we go, competing with the 500.
Yeah.
Immediate crash and a 1 hour delay to clean everything up.
Yeah.
They let them bring out their backup cars. So.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's when the IRL had guaranteed spots for 25 of its own drivers, so CART couldn't.
I could see why CART was upset. 25 IRL drivers were going to get a position, which leaves 8 positions for CART drivers. Yeah, that was. Thanks again, Tony George.
But if the CART drivers joined, they would have. They probably would have qualified 1 through 8 and won the race.
Yeah. So in the end, almost 2/3 of the field DNF'd, whether it was from crashes or engine failures. There were quite a few engine failures.
That's pretty bad. I mean, it was supposed to be a showcase race for CART.
Yes.
Competing against the brand new IRL.
Yes.
With the best drivers and cars, which, I mean, it did have, but...
Oh yeah, the CART cars were definitely faster than the underpowered IRL cars.
That probably is what kept CART from just winning the battle between them, is that awful showing.
Yeah, so years later, instead of trying to put on their own race, they just raced in the Indy 500, and they would have to buy a car just for the Indy 500 and go race there.
I think that was 2000 when Penske finally went and raced it.
Yeah.
So it took, 96 took 4 or 5 years before they decided, you know what, we'll just race in this.
I'm sure it was sponsor driven. I mean, even today, the Indy 500 makes more money for IndyCar than all the other races combined. Like, it's just a massive cash cow.
It used to, I think it pretty much funds the entire series. Without that race, they would not have a series.
Yeah, they would be a really low-budget series. It's kind of like, Disney doing live-action films of their entire library.
Redoing every single film they made?
Yeah, that's the dollar equivalent of the Indy 500.
Well, this week we're going to have a throwback livery of the week instead, because nothing else is happening. So I picked Marco Andretti's Star Wars The Clone Wars from 2008 Sonoma race.
I remember that. That's the one where we needed coats at night and then sunblock during the day.
Yes. It was a quick turnaround in temperature.
Yeah, we had no idea how cold San Francisco was going to be in the middle of the summer.
No, it gets chilly. And then hot.
Yeah, that's a weird temperature place. I literally fell asleep watching that race. That was the most boring race I can remember.
Yeah, Sonoma was not a great track for Indy.
No, their engines were so underpowered they could barely get up those hills.
No.
That was right after the reconciliation, right?
Oh.
When CART and IndyCar came back together.
Yeah, it was like a year or two. Maybe it was that year. I don't remember exactly. A long time ago.
I remember doing the autograph session, and we went to see Graham Rahal, and Justin Wilson was his teammate.
Mm-hmm.
So, we got Graham's, and then we got Justin, gave us his, and we're like, oh, yeah, thanks. And I was going to throw mine away, and my wife's like, oh, don't throw it away. You never know what can happen. And then he gets killed, 2 years later.
I don't think I knew. Was he in Formula One at that point? Because he was in F1 for a year before he came over, but I didn't really know him that well.
He was, nobody knew him, but he was teammates with Graham.
I think I kept all of them.
Yeah.
Well, I guess IndyCar next week, I think. Actually,
an actual race.
This weekend.
Yes.
An actual race.
Well, it's at a 1.25 mile oval, so.
Yeah, we're going to be at St. Louis we'll call it Gateway because its fake name is stupid. It's a 1.25 mile oval, 260 laps. So I'm concerned it's going to be a bit like the Iowa races where there was little to no passing.
A 325-mile race. Who came up with that number?
I don't know. A dartboard?
Feels like it.
I don't know. Actually, it was the White House press secretary likes to call it a 500, even though it's kilometers.
That's called gaslighting.
No. She would never.
What do we have in other news?
Other news, the Knoxville Nationals were last weekend. Kyle...
Wait, is that the one with the sprint cars?
Sprint cars.
Oh, I love that one.
Knoxville Nationals. But they're not on TV anywhere that I can watch. Kyle Larson dominated the race. I saw a few highlights. Looked like Kyle Larson dominated. But the race is on Dirt Vision, and I don't have the extra money to be paying for Dirt Vision, so wasn't able to watch it.
I went to Tennessee, and my brother-in-law lives near Knoxville, and I'm like, oh, cool, I'll get to see the race. Oh, wrong Knoxville.
Oh, it's the Iowa? Is that
Yeah.
Knoxville, Iowa?
Yeah, it's not the Tennessee Knoxville.
That seems to confuse people,
I was
including
disappointed.
myself.
Yeah, I was quite disappointed. The Olympics are over. USA wins it with 121 medals. China in second, and England in third with, I forget how many medals, but who cares, because we win.
Yeah, whatever, losers.
Yeah.
I found my new favorite Olympic event, track cycling. It's the one on the banked oval.
Is that the one where the tires look like pizza cutters, kind of?
They race other cars. It's not the time trial one.
Oh, okay.
It's the one, there's like 3 or 4 of them out there at one time. Kind of reminds me of a super speedway.
Is it wood or
Yeah.
something? Yeah, okay.
It kind of looks like Talladega or NASCAR on the oval like that. So that's my new favorite.
I watched the women's 4x400 relay. USA looked like Red Bull 2023. Like, the anchor runner was 4.2 seconds out ahead of the entire field. It was. They might as well have Red Bull jerseys on.
It's only once every 4 years, so I can deal with that.
Yeah. That was fun. There was a lot of good events.
If you're ever feeling bad about yourself, remember that Australia sent Reagan to the Olympics to compete in breakdancing. Did you see that? My God.
She looked like a dog rolling in the mud for a while, and she did the kangaroo at one point.
I thought it was a joke. She single-handedly got breakdancing eliminated from the Olympics in 2028. Just they were like, nah, we're done here. That's it.
Right, so I'm sure there's some legitimate breakdancers in Australia. How did she beat out everybody for that position?
I saw clips. There was another guy from Australia, and he was legitimately doing breakdancing. Looked good. Looked like an actual. I was like, how did this happen? How did this get by everybody?
Yeah, there's got to be an investigation about how did she get picked to represent Australia. That was just sad. Man, that would be like me. I might be able to actually do better. It would be close.
It's close.
Yeah. In sad news, no more horseback in the modern pentathlon. They're going to eliminate horse jumping and replace it with an obstacle course.
Like a schoolyard in Gaza City?
Exactly.
Ah.
You got to jump over landmines, broken buildings.
Dodging bullets.
You could like grab it onto rebar, because they build everything out of concrete over there. Yeah, no more horse jumping. They've been complaining for a while. I think the horse event probably costs more to put on than all the other events combined times 4.
Oh, so they would have to ship in and deal with a whole stable full of horses just for the one horse jumping event?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see why they would want to cut that out.
Because it's a pool. You don't bring your own horse. The event provides a bunch of horses and you just get randomly selected. Hope you get a good horse. Yeah, that's the other thing. You can really ruin your pentathlon if you happen to draw a bad horse.
That makes sense, I guess.
So, which is sad though, because the whole event was based on, Napoleon era escaping from behind enemy lines.
Switch it to an ATV, like a 4-wheeler.
Oh yeah, ATV race. That sounds reasonable.
Instead of the horses.
Apparently, they went out to all the different nations that participate in modern pentathlon and selected the obstacle course, kind of like American Ninja Warrior type thing.
Oh, okay. That could be interesting to watch.
Yeah.
I miss the horses, though.
I thought, I like the fencing, but it's also cool to do the shooting event because you have to run like a lap and then shoot the target 6 times, run another lap, shoot the target, pistol shot.
Should make him do it from horseback, but I guess that's not going to happen anymore.
With the bow. Yeah, they could put archery. Well, that's not very Napoleonic. Musket, you have to load a musket and then shoot a guy and then bayonet somebody.
I'd watch that, but
Yeah.
I don't see it happening.
Yeah, they don't put that on Wild World of Sports. Wait, Wild was it ABC? Wild World of Sports?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. That was before ESPN.
Yeah. Anyway, well, there's actual racing coming up, so that's exciting.
Woohoo! 2 races?
2?
Yes. 2 American races?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. That's it for the show. We'll see you next time.
See you next week.